I rented a beach house to get away from everything. Work stress, a breakup, my own restless thoughts. I just wanted quiet. The listing called it a peaceful coastal retreat. And it was sort of. The place sat at the edge of a small California town, right where the sand turned rough and gray, and the waves felt colder than they should in summer. It looked normal at first. A whitewashed two-bedroom with wind chimes that clinked softly outside the window, a porch that faced the water, and old furniture that smelled faintly of salt and lavender. But even on day one, something didn't sit right. I'd hear the ocean, but sometimes, late at night, the waves would stop. Not fade, just stop. Like the world was holding its breath. There was a mirror in the hallway that I kept catching from the corner of my eye. It was always dark in the reflection, even when the hallway light was on. I told myself it was nothing, a trick of the glass. My mind is playing games. But then I started having dreams. Always the same. I'm standing on the porch, looking out to the sea, and there's someone, or something, just past the tide, staring at me. I wake up gasping before I see its face. I came here to rest. So why do I feel more tired every day? It started with the clocks. On the third morning, I woke up at 7:12 a.m. The digital clock on the nightstand blinked that exact number. But when I checked my phone, it said 3:47 a.m. I laughed it off. Probably just forgot to change the time zone. But then it happened again, and again. Some days would stretch on forever. Others disappeared completely. I'd blink and it was sunset. I tried to write things down, timestamps, events, even what I ate for breakfast. But my notes didn't match my memories. Whole pages looked like they'd been scribbled by someone else, shaky and uneven, in handwriting I didn't recognize. I called my sister, needing a voice I could trust, but her voice that was wrong. Too calm, too rehearsed. She kept saying, "You're fine. Just breathe. You always overthink things." But I hadn't told her anything yet. I found a photo album in the living room drawer. Inside were pictures of me at the beach house, same couch, same porch, but I'd never been here before this trip. In one picture, I was smiling with a man I didn't recognize, my hand on his chest like we were close. His face looked familiar and fake at the same time. Then the dreams changed. Now, the figure in the water was walking toward me. And sometimes, when I passed that mirror in the hallway, I wasn't alone in the reflection. I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see it. The figure from the waves, closer now. I'd jolt awake drenched in sweat, heart pounding, convinced someone was in the house. But every room was empty. The mirror, though, it kept showing something else. Not just darkness anymore. Movement. A flicker in the hallway when nothing was there. Then came the whispers, low and wet, like breath through water. I'd hear them under the floorboards, behind the walls, just out of reach. Sometimes I could almost make out the words. "You were here before. You never left." I found a locked drawer in the bedroom dresser. Curiosity got the better of me. I pried it open with a butter knife and found old letters, written by someone named Claire. The handwriting was mine. Same loops, same slant. But I don't remember ever writing them. They talked about dreams, about drowning, about how he was coming back for her. That night, I saw someone watching me through the kitchen window, just standing there, motionless. When I ran outside, no one was there, but there were footprints in the sand. My footprints, leading toward the house. Things kept repeating. I'd find the same broken shell on the porch, the same coffee ring on the counter, the same moment playing out again, only different. Slightly off, like the world was resetting but glitching. I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. Pale, thinner, hollow eyes, and the mirror version didn't blink when I did. Then the realization hit me like a wave. I hadn't come to this house alone, but I couldn't remember who was with me, or what happened to them. It all unraveled the night I smashed the hallway mirror. I couldn't take it anymore. The reflection had started moving on its own, raising its hand when mine stayed still, smiling when I was crying. I threw a lamp at it, and the glass exploded across the floor. But behind the mirror, buried in the wall, was something worse. Another photograph. This time, no smiling faces. Just me alone, standing on the beach at night, drenched and wild-eyed, holding something heavy in my hands. At first, I couldn't tell what it was. But then I saw the fingers, the limp arm, a body, and a note, scrawled in that same familiar handwriting. You brought him back. Again, my memories came flooding in, warped and disjointed, like watching someone else's nightmare. I hadn't rented the house. I had always been here. I had lived here with someone, a man I loved. And one night, during a fight, I dragged him into the ocean. I watched him disappear beneath the black waves. Then I built a lie to survive it. But the house remembered. The ocean remembered. I remembered. There was no escape because this place, this endless loop, was my prison. Or maybe my punishment. Each time I forgot, it began again. The peace, the dreams, the unraveling. And the worst part? A part of me wanted it to repeat. Because facing the truth is more terrifying than the lie. I packed my bag this morning. Again, told myself I was leaving. I even made it to the front door before I stopped. Something about the light outside looked wrong. The sky too pale. The waves frozen mid-crest like a paused video. I blinked, and it was normal again. I didn't open the door. Instead, I made coffee. Sat on the porch. I watched the tide roll in. The ocean always brings him back, eventually. I found another letter on the kitchen counter, just now. Same handwriting. Same ink. But I didn't write it. I swear I didn't. It just says, "Do not break the mirror this time." I don't remember writing the last one either. Sometimes I wonder if this house is even real. Or if I'm just a thought someone else is having. A guilt dream on repeat. Am I the one trapped, or the one doing the trapping? Maybe I deserve this. Maybe I don't. I walked down to the shore earlier. The footprints were already there, side by side. One set smaller than mine. They led to the water and disappeared. I waited, half hoping he'd come out again. He didn't, but something else did. It's standing just beyond the edge of the waves, watching me, patient, like it knows I'll be back tomorrow, and the day after that, like it knows I'll forget again, and it'll all start over. I didn't choose the beach house. It chose me. I found it while scrolling through rentals late one night, half asleep and numb from grief. My mom had just passed, and my therapist said I needed space to process. The listing had no reviews, no contact number, just a photo of a lonely house near a rocky shoreline and the caption, "For healing." It looked peaceful, tired, like it had secrets but didn't mind sharing them if you were quiet enough to listen. The first few days were uneventful. The place was a little rundown, with warped floors and wallpaper that peeled like old skin, but it felt lived in, safe even. I spent my mornings walking the jagged shore and my nights staring out the window, wine in hand, letting the sound of the tide blur my thoughts. But there were odd details I couldn't ignore. The ticking of a clock that didn't exist. A photo on the mantel that showed someone who looked exactly like me. Same scar on the chin, same tired eyes, but in older clothes, standing in this same house, decades ago. I told myself it was a coincidence, a trick of grief. But when I blinked, the photo was gone. And in its place was a mirror. Not mine. Not from the house. Just there. Waiting. Things unraveled slowly. On the fifth night, I woke up to the sound of waves crashing. Louder than usual, angry, like they were trying to reach the house. I checked the window, but the ocean was still. Dead still. No movement. No sound. But I heard it. The next morning, I found sand in the hallway. Wet footprints leading from the front door to the bathroom. I live alone. The door was locked. No signs of a break-in. I cleaned it up without thinking, like it was something that happened every day. Then I noticed the changes. My reflection in the mirror was delayed. Not by much, maybe a second, but enough to make me sick to my stomach. I stared at it for minutes, daring it to move wrong again. When it didn't, I turned away. But I swear it smiled after I did. Later, I video called a friend, Jess. I needed to hear a familiar voice. She looked at me through the screen and said, "You're at the house again?" I told her I'd never been here before. She laughed, said, "Stop messing with me. You went there last year after your mom passed." Last year? That's not possible. I only found this place 2 weeks ago. She looked confused for a second. Then the screen glitched. and her voice changed. Sharper, colder. You were supposed to forget. Then the call dropped. I haven't been able to reach her since. I started hearing whispers in the pipes. It began with water, constant dripping, even when the taps were shut tight. Then came voices, low and distant, like someone murmuring underwater. I pressed my ear against the bathroom sink and swore I heard my name. The house wasn't just creaking anymore. It was breathing, groaning in its bones when I walked too fast, holding its breath when I paused. The mirror in the hallway, the one I thought had appeared out of nowhere, was suddenly nailed to the wall. Firm, permanent, and the reflection inside it didn't quite match the room. I saw furniture that wasn't there, a coat rack I'd never owned, a shape passing by behind me that never showed up when I turned around. I found a journal tucked under a loose floorboard. The cover was damp and warped. Inside, pages of writing my writing. But I never wrote any of it. Every entry began with the same phrase, "You're almost ready to remember." Then came the dreams. Not nightmares, memories. I was here before, standing in the same kitchen, staring at that same mirror, talking to someone I couldn't see. A woman's voice, angry, distant. "You said you'd stay dead this time." I stopped trusting myself. My phone showed call logs I didn't remember. Voice memos with my voice whispering things I'd never say. I'd leave the bedroom door open and find it closed the next morning, or the other way around. Then the mirror cracked. Just a hairline fracture across the surface. I didn't touch it, but I felt it, deep in my skull, like something inside me had broken too. Sometimes, when I look in the mirror now, the version of me inside looks disappointed, like it knows I'm not ready for the truth. Not yet. The truth came slowly, like seawater rising beneath a locked door. I woke up one night gasping for air, lungs burning. The sheets were soaked. I stumbled to the mirror. My skin looked gray, lips blue. I didn't look alive. My reflection smiled. Then it spoke. Not out loud. In my head, as clear as my own thoughts. "You drowned here. You always drown here." Flashes hit me, disjointed, violent. I saw myself underwater, thrashing. A storm overhead. A woman screaming my name from the shore. My mother. But she wasn't reaching to save me. She was pushing me under. The mirror began showing me things. Images that felt like memories or punishments. I saw versions of this house in different decades. Always the same layout. Always someone like me. Lost. Alone. Dying. And always the mirror watching. Then I understood. The house isn't real. It's a loop. A construct. A trap made of guilt, grief, and repetition. It replays itself, tailored to me. To what I did. Or didn't. I didn't come here to heal. I came here to remember. To suffer until I understand. Until I stop lying. I wasn't grieving my mother. She was grieving me. Because I never left the ocean. I'm still there, somewhere beneath the waves. My body was bloated. My eyes wide open. This house, this mirror, this version of me, it's all just echoes. And now that I finally know, the mirror is cracking again. I tried to leave. I packed my things. I walked out the front door. But the beach was wrong. The sky overhead was too still. No clouds. No breeze. Just a flat, painted silence. I stepped onto the sand and felt it pulse beneath my feet, like breathing. I turned around, and the house was gone. In its place stood the mirror. Alone. Upright in the sand. Fractured across the middle, but still standing. I walked toward it. I don't know why. Maybe I thought I could break the cycle. Smash it and finally be free. But when I looked inside, I didn't see myself. I saw him. A man I don't remember being. His eyes wild, face pale, lips moving soundlessly. Behind him, dozens of other reflections. Women, men, children, all in the same house. All of me. Different versions, different eras, all repeating the same spiral. We're the same story, told again and again. I dropped my bag and walked back inside. Or maybe the house rebuilt itself around me. I'm not sure anymore. Time bends here. Maybe it's been years. Maybe it hasn't started yet. Every now and then, I hear knocking behind the mirror. A new tenant, maybe. Someone scrolled online late at night. Grieving. Curious. drawn to a listing with no reviews. I hope they don't come, but they always do, because the house never forgets, and the mirror is always watching. It was supposed to be a quick renovation project. I had inherited the beach house from my uncle after his passing, a place I'd only been to once as a kid. I didn't remember much, just flashes, peeling paint, gulls screaming overhead, the smell of seawater and mold. Still, it was a free house, coastal property. I figured I'd fix it up, sell it, move on. At first glance, it wasn't as bad as I expected. Outdated, sure, and damp in a way no dehumidifier could fix, but structurally sound. The kind of place that creaked like it had something to say. The living room had these huge floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the ocean. That view alone could sell it, but there was a weird tension in the air, like a storm was always about to break, even when the sky was clear. I kept getting déjà vu, turning a corner and knowing what I'd see before I saw it. Tools moved from room to room without me touching them. Lights flickered. The stove clicked by itself at night. One night, while checking the fuse box in the basement, I found a journal tucked behind an old pipe. The name inside, my own, but the handwriting wasn't mine, and neither were the entries. They described the house in detail, its windows, its angles, its rules. I should have left then. I didn't. The journal got under my skin. Each page detailed things I hadn't noticed yet, small ones at first. Don't sleep with the curtains open. Avoid mirrors at night. Don't answer the knock on the third night. It read like a warning written just for me. The problem was, I had slept with the curtains open. I had looked into the mirror after dark, and I'd already been in the house for 2 nights. I told myself it was a prank, some creepy leftover from my uncle, or maybe even a sick coincidence. But the next day, I found a fresh entry, in the same handwriting, with today's date. Don't go into the attic again. I hadn't even remembered there was an attic, but after reading that line, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I found the entrance in the hallway ceiling, one of those pull-down ladders, dusty, undisturbed. I stood beneath it for a long time, heart pounding, hand halfway to the cord. I didn't pull it, not yet. That night, I dreamed I was up there, trapped, surrounded by whispering voices that weren't speaking any language I knew, but I understood them anyway. They told me I had been here before, that the house remembered me even if I didn't remember it. When I woke up, there was dust on my hands, and attic footprints across the hallway floor. But I still hadn't gone up there. Had I? Something was inside the walls. I could hear it at night, scraping, shuffling, like nails dragging across wood. I knocked once, just to prove to myself it was nothing. Whatever it was knocked back. Same rhythm, same speed. I didn't sleep after that. I finally opened the attic. It was empty at first glance. Just dust, rotting insulation, and a single, broken rocking chair in the corner. But when I turned to leave, I saw something scratched into the inside of the door. You came back. The journal kept updating. Pages that hadn't existed before now appeared between the old ones. I found a passage describing the attic exactly as I'd seen it, chair and all. Except the last line said, "Don't sit in the chair. Not again." I started seeing people in the corners of my vision. Blurred, wet figures, always watching, never moving. Every time I turned to face them, they vanished. But I could feel them, like their presence hung in the air behind me. My phone camera began glitching. Anytime I took a photo inside the house, faces appeared in the windows, dozens of them. All different, all wrong. One of them looked like me, only older. Hollow, eyes blacked out. I tried leaving the house. I made it to the end of the beach road. Then I blinked, and I was back in the kitchen, hands covered in seaweed, barefoot, and wet like I'd walked out of the ocean. I started to forget details. What day it was, how long I'd been here. My own voice began to sound unfamiliar. One night, I looked in the mirror, and the reflection didn't copy me. It just started. Then it spoke. "Stop trying to leave. You built this place. You made it to keep us in." The house wasn't haunted. I was. It hit me like a flood. The entries in the journal, the faces in the mirror, the loops of memory. This wasn't a place I inherited. It was something I created, not with bricks or blueprints, but with guilt, I remembered now. There was never an uncle, never a family beach house. The house existed because I needed it to. Because once, long ago, or maybe not that long at all, I did something unforgivable. The journal wasn't a warning from someone else. It was a confession. Mine. Years ago, I built this house in my mind as a prison. I used it to bury memories, to lock away a part of myself I didn't want to face. The things I saw, the strangers, the warnings, the version of me that whispered from the mirror, were all fractured reflections of a truth I refused to confront. The attic. That's where I put the worst of it. I went back up. This time, I sat in the chair. It felt too familiar, too real, like I'd sat in it many times before. When I closed my eyes, I saw them all. The versions of me who came before, all trapped, all screaming through reflections, journal pages, dreams. This wasn't a curse laid on me. It was me, punishing myself. The worst part, I knew I would forget again, and that I built it that way on purpose. I'm still here. The renovations stopped weeks ago, or maybe months. Time doesn't work the same anymore. The calendar is always wrong, and the clocks don't tick unless I'm watching them. But the mirror never stops. I tried to smash it, again, but the shards just reformed, slower this time, like they were tired of breaking. Each piece showed a different version of me, some screaming, some silent, all waiting. Sometimes I hear footsteps upstairs, but I know I'm the only one left. Or I was, because now I feel someone else moving in the house. Familiar, heavy, like it belongs here more than I do. Yesterday, the journal disappeared. In its place, a new one. Blank pages. Waiting. I don't know if I'm supposed to write in it or read from it. I checked the attic this morning. The chair is gone. In its place is a second mirror. Smaller. Waiting. I don't think the house can hold many more of me. But it doesn't matter. The process is the punishment. I'll forget again. I'll walk through the front door like it's the first time. I'll find the journal. I'll start seeing cracks in the walls, hearing whispers in the pipes, and I'll think I'm here to fix something. I always think that, until the mirror shows me the truth, and then it all starts over.